Louisiana grown and Louisiana proud. We get to know your favorite stars, from musicians and athletes to business owners and artists. Restoral Dental presents Homegrown, a KLFY Plus exclusive.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Homegrown, where we get to know your favorite local celebs. Today, we are chatting with a pitcher for the Oakland Athletics out of Oakland, California. Hogan Harris, welcome to Homegrown.
Pleasure. I'm excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you. I've known you for quite some time now. Yep. Hogan's wife is one of my very best friends. So this is going to be interesting. I'm interested to see how this goes because I don't know that you've been serious for a 30-minute period of time, like ever in your life.
Not often.
So,
not often.
Yeah, not often. So we'll see how this goes, but I'm excited, and thank you for being here. Okay, let's backtrack a little bit. Okay. When did you start playing baseball?
Probably like 4 or 5 years old. Played t-ball, all that good stuff, and I was just a very average player for a long time. And then out of nowhere, played, never stopped, went to high school, still playing football, basketball, doing all that stuff. And then I was like, all of a sudden, I hit a little growth spurt. I was like, wait, instead of throwing like 80, I'm throwing like 90. And then I started getting offers from college, things like that. So that was kind of the, the quick fruition of like, okay, I'll just focus on this.
Yeah. So baseball became serious for you in high school. High school is also where you met your beautiful, amazing wife.
That is very true. It is. High school sweethearts.
Yeah, and now you guys have an amazing little one and almost a half-year-old Decker, and we'll get to all of that soon. But okay, so high school, got serious about baseball. When did you realize, though, that you could take it to make a career out of it?
Yeah, so I guess that was whenever I was a junior year going into senior year. They have all these showcase, things like that. And then, they have all the really good guys throw the first few innings of the game. And then the rest of us throw the back end. Because, I was throwing 84, 85. They're like, oh, he's good. He's got a college commitment, whatever. So I go to that. And then next thing you know, out of nowhere, I didn't expect to be doing this either. I was throwing 93, 94, touching 95. Struck out 4 or 5 people in 2 innings. And then as soon as I got out, the owner of the showcase called me up to his box and asked me to go to the All-American game. And then next thing you know, just started having letters from pro teams, things like that. Obviously, I went to college. But
yeah.
So, I really didn't think it would be that big of a career until that started. I'm like, oh, okay. Maybe we should really lock in on this now.
Yeah. Yeah. So you went to UL. You played all throughout college. And then you were drafted in, what was it, 2018?
Yes.
Okay.
2018, third round to the A's. Thank goodness, because so after the first 2 rounds went by, that day's done. And you wait till the next day. And they're like, I wonder how long I'm going to sit here today, see what happens. It was 7th pick of the day. So I was like, oh, nice. So we got to do it. And then we just got to go hang out with friends, go out to eat, had fun. I was with Miranda, my mom, and dad, and that was it.
Oh,
whenever we found out. So it was cool.
How special was that?
It was awesome. We were just sitting around the TV, and we were like, I don't know when's going to happen, what's going to do, because they had 5 or 6 teams that are seriously talking. And then all of a sudden, the A's picked me. And the A's hadn't talked to me once in my 21 years of life. Never talked to me once.
Wow.
But, obviously he was paying attention, and now the guy that drafted me is one of my favorite people. Every year he comes to UL for the spring games or the fall games and stuff. And he'll text me, then I'll go hang out with him at the game and stuff. So that was awesome. So he obviously knew more about me than I thought he would.
Yeah, yeah. So that was a complete shock to you then, to get an offer from the A's.
Yeah, I had no idea whatsoever. It was crazy. I was playing MLB The Show right before it started, actually. And I was playing a green and gold team. I was like, you don't see those colors very often. And the next thing you know, I got drafted by them.
So you didn't know much about the team before?
Not much about the A's in particular. I was never really I never knew much about any teams, really, because I was always the closest we had was the Astros, 3-4 hours away. Yeah. So it was kind of I just had random players that I liked growing up. And none of them actually were pitchers. It was shortstops, things like that, first baseman. Obviously, the Kershaws and things like that. But, other than that, I just didn't really pay that much attention to pro ball until I got into it. And now my wife and I are addicted for multiple reasons. But we like to do all the guess who's going to go where and free agency, things like that. So, yeah, it's grown up into something a little crazy.
Yeah, it's impressive also how much Miranda knows about baseball.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
Obviously because she's around it so much and she's been with you for so many years, and so she's kind of grown up with you and seen you through like every stage of your career, from high school to college and now the MLB. But yeah, when she talks to me about baseball, sometimes trying to explain things to me, I'm like, I need to take notes because I don't know, what you're talking about.
No, it's unbelievable, especially when you get into the depths of everything, like whether it be, if you need a certain amount of rest, all this stuff. Like Miranda knows all that now. Mm-hmm. She knows all the fancy terms, like getting optioned, getting like arbitration, all this stuff. She knows it all. Yeah. It's crazy. She, I'll give her that though. Once she tries to learn something, she dives in head first. She's like, I'm not going to do this and not know what's going on.
Right, so, right. Yeah, and she definitely knows the deal, because whenever you were kind of up and down with AAA and majors, she was trying to explain all of that to me, and she did a very good job explaining it. But then afterwards, a couple days later, I was like, okay, wait, what was the word that she used there again? And I'm I don't even know what's going on.
It's crazy. I think she'd be a better GM than I would. She is so in-depth. She knows everything. Yeah. She's like, hey, have you seen like your buddy in a while? He's got like a 1 ERA and AA. Like he'll be with you soon. I'm like, how do you know all this? I'm not looking at all this. I mean, obviously, I hope all my friends do well. I'm like, it's crazy. She is everywhere. She knows what's going on. Yeah. It's nuts.
So do you have friends that are on other teams in the MLB?
Slowly but surely. Okay. Yeah, it's grown a little bit. That was the cool thing of playing that All-American game in high school that I was telling you about. Just because it was, at the time, they said the best 50 players in the country. And so now I think, give or take, 15 to 20 of them are still playing. Like Kyle Tucker, Jemai Jones, a lot of people on that are now they were out of high school, so they've got 5-6 years in the big leagues already. So it's crazy. So it's cool. Yeah, I've started to know people, and we always are out there shagging before the games whenever they're hitting BP and all that. Mm-hmm. So you slowly start to learn more people, and then working out and stuff like that. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm starting to get more friends.
Yeah, the whole world of baseball is just so interesting. And I know a couple weeks ago we were all together for Halloween, and we were kind of talking a little bit about that. So, yeah, very interesting life that you guys have. And we'll talk more about how, strange it can seem for other people who aren't in the business. You're home for half the year and you're not home for half the year. So we'll get into that right after this break, you guys. Don't go anywhere.
Homegrown is sponsored by Restoral Dental, making the best dentures in Lafayette. Restoral Dental.
Welcome back to Homegrown. Chatting today with Oakland A's pitcher Hogan Harris. Hogan, we talked a lot about kind of your upbringing in Lafayette. You have a wife, a baby boy now. You were drafted in 2018. So I want to know about the first couple of years of your career before making it into the majors.
Sure. So 2018 I got drafted, third round, and then I would go to, I think about 4 or 5 days after I got drafted, signed the paperwork here in Lafayette, and then the very next day I flew to Arizona to our spring training facility. Mm-hmm. But that's where the rookie ball and things like that are. And you all have to go there to go through your extra physicals, do all that, basically get ready for everything. Because they understand at the time it was you'd play a season, but then you're done from college for a few weeks. So they kind of let you re-ramp up in a sense.
Yeah.
But I had thrown, the first day I threw, I was like, something doesn't feel great. So then I was out for a year. Now, luckily, it wasn't a major surgery or anything. It was just that weird timing, because we did it. I had to get a small PRP or something like that in July. So you got to let it sit for a few weeks. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, I feel good, but it's November. So then I'm like, all right, well, I'll just go home. So I went home for 6 weeks. I had to go back early in January. And then, by the time we got re-ramped up, ready to go, it was June. Mm-hmm. And then I went out and played. And then COVID happened the next year.
Yeah.
So really not that much baseball played the first couple of years. But then 2022 to 2023 and 4 and 5 had parts of minor league season also. Mm-hmm. But 22 was really good. And then that was kind of what caught the eye and got me on the 40-man, which I don't know if Miranda explained that one to you.
Yes, I do know the 40-man roster, yes.
Yeah. So then that's when I got put on the 40-man. I had a really good year in 22, my first full year back, actually ever. First full year ever since I got drafted. And then got put on that and made my debut in 23, and then slowly getting more and more days in the big leagues each year.
Yeah.
So.
April 2023. I remember Miranda going on a bachelorette trip.
Yep.
And freaking out the whole time because she's like, Hogan like has a really good chance at getting called up to the majors. And she was like, I just know it's going to happen whenever I'm on this trip. And what do you know? It happened while she was on the trip.
Literally the second y'all got there, I think.
Yeah, well, I wasn't on the trip.
Oh,
I think it was for one of her other friends because she has other friends. But that's okay. Yeah, she does have a lot of friends.
Nice
but
person.
yeah, and it was maybe like day 2 of the trip or something like that.
Not even. I think they drove in at like 8 p.m. because they were ahead of us by 2 hours because I was in Vegas. They got in at 8 and I called her at 8:30. So she immediately had to rent a car and drive 7 hours back to be able to get a flight.
Yeah.
That was crazy. But it was fun. It was cool. It's hard to explain. It's very, I guess, surreal when you get called up. Because, like, honestly, I wasn't doing that good in AAA at the time. I mean, the season was only a couple weeks in, you know, but we were, working through some things. Yeah. And the next thing you know, they're like, hey, you're in the big leagues. And Miranda and I were both like, what? But it was cool. So it was a crazy story, especially more on her end than mine. Yeah. But, yeah, it was cool. That was a wild 24 hours for her.
Yeah. Tell us about that game, your first game in the majors. What do you remember about that day?
So the first game was not the best, but I mean, it doesn't matter because I mean, you got to make your debut. It had its flaws, but Miranda and I call it the practice game because then I went back down for about a month and I came back and I think I threw 4 2/3 or 5 no hit versus the Astros. My second time back. Wow. Yeah, so we call the first one just the warm up.
Yeah.
But then after that, it started becoming a little bit more smoother sailing. Yeah. Down the line.
And from what I remember, there was kind of a good bit of up and down, which is normal.
It is. It's fairly normal, especially when you're not like. Obviously, I like to personally think I'm a big name because I mean confidence is everything. But whenever you're not like the guy, like the number one prospect and the things, anything like that, they will kind of use, especially at that time, because I was kind of starting, kind of relieving. So it was a little bit of both. Mm-hmm. So it was just like, hey, we need you to spot start. One of our guys just has to miss a start. So, it was kind of a lot of stuff like that. And then I had like a nice 2-month run where I got to stay up for a while. Mm-hmm. But, I was a semi-young kid that, he's still trying to prove himself. And they have other guys that once they get healthy, they've been in the big leagues for like 6-7 years. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's like, that is normally how it goes, unless you just go up and have like a unbelievable start. But yeah, that's normally how it is.
And remind me what the, I guess, rules are. If you're up for a certain amount of time, don't you like stay up and they can't bring you back down to triple?
Kind of. So you can only have 5 options a year. So that's like what's called. Whenever you get called up and then you get sent back down, it's considered an option.
Okay.
Right. You have 5 options a year and you have 3 years of options.
Okay.
So if they option you down a 5th time and they call you back up, you have to stay up. Or they would have to DFA you, which, for lack of a better term, is basically like we're putting you on the open market, and if nobody wants you, then you're off the 40-man, basically. So it kind of like ties their hands, but also it's like, so it's nice. It's a perk for the player, unless you're doing really bad, then it's a problem. Yeah. But, so I've been through 3 years of options, so next year they can't option me. They would have to DFA me if they don't want me in the big leagues.
But we don't think that's going to happen.
No, we don't plan on it. No. Yeah. But that's okay.
Staying in the majors.
Yeah,
staying in the big leagues.
That's it. We're pitching, and then we just see what happens after the ball lets out of my hand.
Yeah. So getting married, I'm sure that was, crazy. Playing baseball, being gone so much, like we talked about, and then now having a baby. So we want to get into all of that too in the next block. So we'll get there and kind of talk about how chaotic but also awesome your career is.
Very much so.
All right, we'll be right back. Welcome back. Continuing our chat with Oakland A's pitcher Hogan Harris. Hogan, we left off kind of teasing that we were going to get into sort of dad life, married life, how that all ties in with your career. So you guys are gone for basically half of the year and home for half the year. Right now is your off season, so I was really excited when you guys were coming back home. Sure. But what is that like? What was that like in the beginning first, just with your relationship with Miranda and being away for long periods of time? And then I'm sure it's even harder now that you're a dad.
Very much so, yeah. So it's slowly built into her being there more and more. Obviously, she was almost never there besides to visit before we got married. And then once we got married, she would visit a little bit more. And then, excuse me, once we got, I don't know, probably 2023, once we got onto the 40-man, it was like, okay, now for lack of a better term, we're making more than $14,000 a year. Mm-hmm. So now you can potentially quit your job if you want, which obviously she still will tutor and do things like that in the off season. But she was like, okay, yeah, let's do it. So then she came full time, which is nice. But the Decker thing is crazy. She is an absolute trooper. Yeah. I think she took 25 solo flights with Decker this year.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Whether that be just like coming back home to be here for a couple weeks or traveling wherever it is, if she thinks the city's cool enough that she wants to knock it off her list or whatever. But yeah, it's a very hard life, much harder than I think people that are just looking from the outside think it is. Yeah. You know, you're constantly trying to juggle family and work and whatnot, which I mean, it's hard enough whenever you live where you're working all the time. But it is fun though. There's a lot of journeys and experiences that I can't imagine we'd be able to take in any other job. So it's very fun. I don't want it to end, but I'm sure we'll feel much more peaceful once it does down the road.
Yeah. But you guys are so young still, so I feel like if you do have like several more years in you, I mean, you guys are going to have the time of your lives, I think, because Miranda did have to turn into supermom there this season with all of the flying and traveling, but she did so great. Miranda's awesome. I got to hype her up. But so what are some of, because it was chaotic, but it was also such a fun time for you guys experiencing this this first baseball season as parents together. So what are some of the best memories you guys have from this season?
My favorite is whenever, like after we win and they get to come down on the field. So we've gotten to see fireworks on the field together, trying to chase Decker around the field because he is our personal little psychopath.
Yes.
He doesn't stop moving from the second he wakes up to the second he goes to bed. There's no sitting on the couch because if you do, he will just run up to you and make you grab him and make you think he wants a hug. No, he just wants on the couch.
Oh,
and he's sprinting around. I know, sprinting around the couch, doing everything. But I mean, I think my favorite moments are always the ones where we're on the field, or if like we get to go to a zoo or something on an off day. All that is probably the funnest part because I mean, you just get the coolest moments, and luckily there tends to be cameramen around, so you get to see, you get to document those and things like that. Those are my personal favorite. I don't know what Miranda would say, but that's my favorite.
Probably around the same thing.
Probably so.
What are some of the coolest cities you guys have? I know you don't always have off days whenever you go for an away series, but whenever you do, what's some of the coolest thing you guys have
So we had an off day right before Boston this year. So that was awesome. So Miranda and Decker got to come. Nice. They went to Boston. So we got to walk like the Freedom Trail, things like that. Let Decker run around the park. They had an awesome like little garden area where we were with the pond and everything. So that one's a little sketchy. He likes to run straight at water for some reason. But we stopped him, don't worry. But it's awesome. So, I mean, that was my favorite city that they got to travel to. But I think a personal of mine is probably Toronto. Toronto's awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, stadium, city, all of it just kind of combined is awesome. Actually, I think Miranda and Decker are getting their passports so they can come to Toronto next year.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, so they're renewing and getting new ones for Decker. Okay. So that'll be fun. I'm excited for them to experience Toronto. Toronto's awesome. But, I mean, there's really tough to pinpoint one city. But I'd probably say those two are my two favorites.
Yeah. So do you guys pretty much go to the same places every year? I mean, because it's not like there's new teams popping up in new cities. Yeah.
So there's every other year you go. So if they have AL and NL, we're in the AL, which is the American League and the National League. So the American League teams, you play a series at home and a series away every time. So those 15 teams, including ourselves, we're there home and away every year. Okay. But then the NL, we go back and forth. Like one time they'll come to us, then one time we'll go to them.
Okay.
So half of them every year, half every other.
Gotcha. So, for instance, next year Toronto will come to you guys instead of you guys go. Okay.
No. So we'll actually go to both. Oh. Because I think they're AL. Yeah, they're AL East. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. It's hard. I'm still learning. I'm still learning who's where. I just know the AL because that's where I'm in. So I know who I play a lot.
Okay, that's what's important.
Yeah.
Okay, now you played against or you pitched against another former UL
I did.
player?
I did.
Was he someone that you played with while you were at UL?
No, so he,
Okay.
but I knew him a little bit. I think he graduated in 21 or got drafted in 21. I don't know.
Okay.
He might have graduated. He was so good for him. More than I did, if he did. But yeah, so he played in 21. But, I kind of knew him because I would go throw at UL from time to time, like before we would go out there, before I go out for spring training and whatnot. So we knew each other a little bit. Nothing crazy. But, yeah, that was cool. I think it was the first time ever that two starting pitchers played against each other from UL.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was that exciting? Did you feel competitive, or were you kind of like rooting for him too? And
Yeah, I hoped he did well. I just hoped I did better.
Right.
Which
absolutely.
I did, but we don't need to talk about
good.
that. It's fine.
Love that.
Yeah. So that was good.
Miranda was texting me earlier, kind of letting me know some of like your big moments in baseball.
Okay.
Aaron Getty. Did I say that
Yes.
correctly?
Yeah. Spencer.
Okay.
Ridley.
You played against him as well, because
Yes.
he's a big name. Because even I recognize that.
He
name.
is, yeah. Yeah. So he did.
How was that?
It was good. It was, I think we both went like 6+ innings. It was both a really good game. I think we won like 1-0.
Wow.
So, yeah, we both pitched really well. But I will take the dub there.
Yeah, I love it.
Older guy wins.
Go A's.
Older guy wins, I guess.
That's awesome. Okay, we'll be right back with more with Hogan Harris. You guys don't go anywhere. Welcome back. Hogan Harris still here with me. We're going to be wrapping up our conversation pretty soon, but I want to know what you guys are up to this off season, because I could probably ask your wife. I know all
Sure.
the things. And I hope to see you guys more often this time, because I think you have a little bit more freedom. He's not a newborn anymore, Decker.
Correct.
And so, but what are you guys excited for? Because, you basically have essentially a toddler now. So, that must be exciting to have these months with them.
Yeah, it is exciting because of multiple reasons. One, we got to go to Hawaii for the first time. First time ever for us in general, but also it was Miranda's first time leaving him. So she was nervous, but then she was like, "Oh, that was nice," because now I miss him again.
Oh, good.
So we got to hang out in Hawaii for a few days. Have another wedding this weekend, and then we got her mom, my dad, Thanksgiving, and our anniversary this month.
Back to back. There we go.
We have another wedding in January in Florida. So we are very busy. But I think my favorite part with the toddler and whatnot now is, as cute as it was from just playing on a little purple monkey or whatever, slapping his feet. Now we get to run outside like we're playing, like he can climb up stuff. He's sliding. He likes to steal our ball. We actually steal his, and we play pig on his little thing in the back while he runs around. So we get to have fun, too, outside, and like things we wouldn't normally do, which is awesome. Just going on the walks and everything like that, and watching him kind of grow is cool. Because at first, like, he's literally just growing, but now you're seeing, like, personalities grow, things like that. Starting to be able to tell what temper tantrum means what. So that's fun. So we're starting to learn.
Yeah.
His personality is loud.
It's you.
Yes.
His personality is Hogan Harris Jr.
Correct. With his wife, with his mother's stubbornness, Miranda. But
No,
she's stubborn
you're
for a
not
reason.
stubborn, Miranda.
She's stubborn for a reason because I'm crazy. So it works out. I
you
need the
balance each
stubborn.
other
I need the
out.
stubborn
Yeah.
dad. But yeah, it's tough to beat the off season now because it's every single off season now he's going to be a little bit bigger. We're going to get to do more and more things. So I don't know, kind of cool to think about.
Yeah, and it's really great though that because he won't be starting school or anything for a few years, and so you still have several seasons that they get to travel
Correct.
with you. So you'll have that time too, which will be really cool.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. I mean, we've always talked about we kind of want to hold him back anyways. He's like that weird middle ground age.
Yeah.
So it's like we want to do that. So then that kind of gives us an extra year anyways. And it's like, I mean, it's just kindergarten. So we could maybe put him in a little late if we need to when he's like 6, 7 years old.
Yeah.
So kind of going through all that, it's like we got a lot of time left. So hopefully it won't be for another 5 or 6 years till like I really don't see him at all. Because when it starts school, I don't know when they'll be able to come. Besides summers, obviously, but first couple and last couple months are tough.
Yeah. We don't need to think about that.
We'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Cross that bridge when we get there.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
what does the future look like career-wise for you? What are you hoping? What are some goals of yours?
So I don't know why, but I've always said 37 years old was when I wanted to stop. And that was when I was like 15, 16. I was like, man, that would be so cool. I don't know why 37, But now it's kind of coming into fruition because 37 would be about 10 full years in the big leagues.
Okay.
If we, God willing, we're there the whole time, stay up, which then gives you, like the pension, things like that. That part doesn't really matter. But, it like the personal life stuff for like our family, that helps a lot. Mm-hmm. But also it's like at that point now, I didn't know this at the time, Decker will be right at 10 years old. It'll be perfect timing so I can start to really go to everything as he knows what he's doing. I can let mom watch him play t-ball because that would stress me out. I mean, it would be adorable, but at a certain point I'm like, I got to teach these kids, but I know I can't teach them or else I'll get a little too excited.
Yeah.
So, but like, that kind of time frame has always worked out pretty well. So I guess that's my goal. And then whatever else happens after that, who knows?
Yeah, that's in another 9 years.
Yeah, we got time.
Yeah, you've got some baseball ahead of you. That's for sure.
I hope so, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so the season, you don't go back until February, right, for spring training?
Yeah, I think spring training is middle of February. I usually go a couple weeks early, but yeah, so we got that.
It's kind of perfect, though, because you get all the holidays at home.
Perfect. I get hunting season. I get the holidays.
Oh, that's
I say
true.
hunting season. I don't even.
Do you even hunt, though?
Probably like 3-4 times a year. If I get invited, I'll go.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
I'm more of a golfer.
Yeah, golf. We were talking about that before we started to roll in, but you haven't been doing that as much recently.
No. I'm lucky to get out like once a month now. That's okay. That's fine.
Yeah. Get a little car seat for Decker. Put him on the cart.
I know. I thought about it. I told Miranda I could
crazy.
strap him down. She didn't like that. She goes, that doesn't feel like a good idea.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, I'll wait till he can walk and we'll play more. Once 3 or 4.
Well, he is walking.
Yeah, but walking where I can kind of control where he's walking.
Oh.
Right now, he'll sprint anywhere.
Okay.
And that's scary. I don't want him getting hit by a golf ball or a club or something.
Yeah.
So that's probably best if we wait for now.
Yeah. But his birthday party was golf themed.
It was.
His first birthday party.
Mastered his first year.
Yeah, that was cute.
I'll be honest, I didn't plan any of that. So great job, Miranda.
Okay.
Really proud of you.
Good job. I mean, awesome. Literally, like she thought of everything. Even like the toothpicks for the food had like golf balls on them and stuff, and like clubs. Yeah, it was awesome.
It's impressive.
Loved it so much. Okay, Hogan, thank you so much for joining me today.
This is awesome.
This was so nice. Okay. You guys tune into all of our Homegrown episodes. You can find those on our streaming app, KLFY Plus. Again, Hogan Harris, pitcher for the Oakland Athletics, for this week's episode of Homegrown.
Homegrown is sponsored by Restoral Dental, making the best dentures in Lafayette. Restoral Dental.